Welcome to our show. This is Soul Cards and Connection. I'm Jaime.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm April. Welcome to Soul Cards and Connections. We're so excited that you're here joining us on this journey of self-discovery as we dive deeper into the art of tarot. Trust that you found us for a reason. We are so glad that you are here.
This is episode 2, and I'm so excited because we're finally diving into our tarot decks, and we get to talk about queens. Everything queens. Queen. We are queens.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I love starting with the queens. I think it's a really meaningful way to begin this process because it's something that we all, the energy of the queens is something that we all want to embody and be. And that's what this journey is all about.
You knew right away, Rachel, when we first had the idea for this podcast, that was like one of the first things you said was we have to start with queens. There was no doubt.
I think they represent, if there's anything that I would want to take away from this, is that they represent self-mastery at the highest octave. And that's what we're all here to learn and do with not just with tarot, but with our lives. And I think it's something to really ground us in this process as like not just a goal, but also realizing that we are all going to be embodying these energies in a variety of different ways. So I'd love to like use the queens as wonderful tools for empowerment and for self-reflection. And at their heart, they really are about who we are becoming.
I feel like queens were sleepers for a while, and they've made this resurgence over the past 10 years. Like when we think about drag queens and when we think about like Chapel Roan, for example, like
God,
at Pink Pony Club, there's a place in LA or West Hollywood where everyone, boys or girls, boys and girls can be queens. Like we're talking about the queens, right? I mean, it's all related.
All of it. And I just want to be very clear, I think is a really good statement, Jaime, because the queens don't necessarily represent the feminine as a physical aspect. They represent the energy of the divine feminine. And that's something we can all tap into 100%.
That's amazing. So just a reminder to everyone, I'm a beginner. This is Jaime. I know like the smidge. My students were like, Jaime, you have to do a reading for us. And I'm like, I don't know how. So Rachel is our expert. She has been studying this for a million years. She is so gracious to bless us with her knowledge in this way. It's such a gift, and I'm excited. April knows a lot more than me.
I'm somewhere in between those two statements.
And like most masters, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. So we're all on a journey together.
Yeah. I love the topic of feminine versus masculine energy. I love talking about how we all have both within us and that they just serve two purposes, right? Like, are we moving forward with action and purpose, or are we tapping into our flow and our creativity? You know, which side of ourselves are we tapping into? So I'm so excited to hear about all the queens in tarot and through the different suits and what they represent for us.
So one of the things that's special to the queens, and it would be the same for all of the court cards, they are as a group assigned an element. And the queen's element is actually water. And so the energy of each of them individually is also seen through the element of water.
Ooh.
So what water represents is that emotional maturity. And so the queens as a group represent the self-mastery through emotional maturity in any given element, right? So they each have their own individual characteristics. So we have, just as a quick reminder, we have the 4 elements and the 4 suits. And so we have the Queen of Wands, which represents fire. We have the Queen of Cups that represents water. We have the Queen of Pentacles that represents earth. And we have the Queen of Swords that represents air. And so in each of these, we're seeing their characteristics through the lens of that beautiful mastery and maturity that comes from all of the lessons from the other cards in the suit in the minor arcana. And we get to the point of the queens and we realize that all of these lessons we've like settled deep within us, right? So it isn't just the feminine energy, it's that interior void of like absorbing all of the lessons within us and then being able to master whatever comes our way.
Oh my god. So she's like who we all wanna grow up to be, right? Like
Yes.
mastery of all of the elements through emotional maturity. This is where we're all striving to be. This is where we wanna end up, is with the queen energy.
And I think, like, what you said before, April, you said 2 things, but they were both positive, 2
Mm.
choices that you have,
Flow or productivity, like action or creativity is the kind of the 2 dualities.
which is amazing. So there's no negativity in that. It's all positive, and it's just where you are and how you're interpreting the energy or the responses that you are receiving.
Well, and also the point is that you can't just have one. If you have just one, then we become skewed. So when we're too much in our masculine energy, we become overproductive, burnt out, controlling, right? If we're too much into our feminine energy, we can become a victim. We can become disconnected. We can become kind of stagnant. And we need both. We need our forward direction. We need our flow, our spirit, our creativity. We need both to function.
I think that's a really powerful way to look at it because everything that we're looking at tarot is about gaining that more intuitive process. And so it is in the balance that we come into ourselves more and into that confidence of understanding how we should respond to life, how should we respond to ourselves and what we need most in that given moment. And the queens really highlight that for us. So if you get that in a spread or as your card of the day, then it's really asking you, how can you embody the mastery of this particular passion or idea or whatever it is that's really calling to you in that moment, and how to both sit with the creative flow of that and then also as a queen be masterful in how you proceed.
That's beautiful. And I just want to back up for 1 second because I don't want anyone out there that feels burdened with vocabulary like me and afraid to speak up or remember. So a spread is what?
A spread is a layout of the cards. So you can do a single card spread in the morning, every morning if you'd like, and that kind of highlights that energy for the day. Many traditional spreads we'll have in other episodes as highlights, but you can do a 3-card spread, which is 3 cards or 3 pulls. And there's many different kinds of layouts, but essentially there are placements with meanings behind each of these particular positions in a layout that you can use for reference and guidance and additional information for your tarot spread.
Amazing.
I'll jump in as our intermediate knowledgeable person here. Just because I have been playing with them for a while, but I definitely have so much to learn, as we all do. How I started doing the spreads or tarot pulls is I would just ask the deck, like, what do I need to hear? And it's actually still what I do if I have 2 minutes with a deck. What do I need to hear for today? And I'll just pull out 1 card. And if that doesn't feel like enough information, maybe I'll do 2. But even just asking for a message and then pulling out 1 card is always eye-opening for me and always gives me some kind of guidance for the day.
I still do the same thing. And even at every level, I think that that's a really important way to start your day. It's wonderful
Yeah.
as a tool and a practice.
And just really quick, and I know that we're going to break this down more in future episodes, but just a brief definition of the major arcana, minor arcana, because we bring that word up a lot. And I did not know what that meant. And then I did. And then my students are writing a podcast, a fictionalized podcast on tarot, and they name their episodes after all the major arcana. And I was like, do you know what that means? So if you could just for a second,
I love
I
that.
know it was really cute.
I think that's
Yeah.
amazing. Jamie is our resident teacher, writer, and extraordinaire in so many ways. I think the best way to describe the difference between the major arcana and the minor arcana, it's the deck is divided into these two sections because the major arcana has symbolism that relates back to the most major moments in our life. And the minor arcana are those more day to day minor moments that we are engaging with in our smaller aspects of our everyday life. Both are important, and both, like the keys of a piano, you need both to have the full flavor of the song, right? So it is in using both of these and together that give you the fuller picture.
And then, like, just practicality wise, the major arcana are the ones with numbers 0 to 21. And the minor arcana are the suits. So it'll say, like, of cups, of wands, if you have a traditional deck.
I have a traditional deck, and I have the Queen of Pentacles. She's my boo.
She's so gorgeous.
I
Wait,
love
let us
that.
see her again.
You're so the Queen of Pens. So what, Jamie, what do you find most attracted to in her energy?
One is the dog in this one, the constant companion, and that's just personal for me. But also the sitting with the pentacle and the bouquet. Like in this illustration specifically, she's a calming energy to me. And often I find myself sitting there in quietness, but my mind is constantly plotting or, for example, when I'm writing a book, I might not be actually typing at the computer, but I'll be sitting in the chair staring or thinking of the book for 6 hours straight. And this is what I look like. It looks like I'm not doing anything, but I am. I'm working so hard. And that's what she represents to me in this picture.
I love that. The Queen of Pentacles at the heart represents a working woman, right? So you are that. You embody that. She is very much about stability and abundance and this kind of earthly energy that is tapped into that. And you working and being a mom and all of the different hats that you wear, you're so it's the energy of self-sufficiency. It's the mastery of that, right? So you embody that, and so it's not surprising that you're attracted, and that card reflects that back to
It's
you.
amazing.
It's like a wonderful confirmation more than anything. And the Queen of Pentacles is like an old soul
Ooh.
as well. She's one of the old souls in the deck. And so she taps into this old earth energy. She's related to Capricorn in the astrological signs. And that just is this ancient kind of wisdom that she pulls from, right? So you being your sun sign is an earth sign, it doesn't surprise me. And I think your moon sign's an earth sign too. Like you're very much pulled into this earthen kind of energy that's so grounding for so many people. So you bring that groundedness to the table wherever you're at. I love
that because that's exactly who I want to be, like a mentor and somebody who helps guide. Like there's nothing else that I want is just to like be someone's hand that they hold to help them to the next step.
Can I just like reflect, Jamie? What you just said was that your reason you love the Queen of Pentacles is because when you look at her, you see yourself in her, and then she's also exactly who you want to be. So you're exactly who you want to be.
That's wild.
You're
My gosh.
You already are.
You already are. Yeah.
If this show isn't giving you goosebumps yet, I promise you it will. Just hang on because there's a couple other queens we need to talk about. Oh my God.
So, April, what is your favorite queen that you are so attracted to and speaks to
You know what's coming. You know who she is.
I know.
She is the Queen of Cups. I've said this before to these two ladies, but like I was like, does everyone have a favorite, suit? Like you like one, right? More than the other. And for me, it's cups. Like whenever I get a cup, I'm like, yes, you're speaking to my soul. So cups is about water. And while I am an air sign for my sun sign, I am a Cancer rising. And I remember finding out about that and being like, oh yeah, that's who I am. So, right, like a life of being a therapist. I've had a career as a doula and a photographer. Like all of my passions and my work has pulled me to the emotional connectedness piece of human existence, right? Like the intensity of birth, the intensity of dealing with trauma and grief with people. Emotion is or has been my wheelhouse. And so it's no surprise that the Queen of Cups is always my girl. I love her. And I just got a new deck and check her out. She's the moon
Oh my
because
God, is that a
Oh,
feather?
I know,
The
and the feather.
raven feather in the moon.
could I be in a card in any other way than this? No.
No.
This is me. This is me
That's
in a card.
wild.
Yeah.
And it's like the feather is holding the moon, like a mother holds the hand of her belly as it's
Full moon.
right? Like, that's
If we're
beautiful.
talking about the
Yeah.
cycles, we're talking about
Mm.
motherhood. The full moon represents motherhood, right? I just love her. I love her so much. Again, like exactly what Jamie said. She is me, right? When I see her, I'm like, yes, you are me.
That's wild. Okay, I told you, goosebumps. Like I got them again just now. I'm gonna have to shave my legs again, you guys. This show might be too much for me. I
Or
don't know.
just don't shave. You know what I mean?
Don't
Just
shave.
like roll with
I'm
it.
gonna roll with it because my boo, Queen of Pentacles, would. She'd be like,
Yeah.
girl,
One with the
you'd be
earth.
like queen.
Yeah. Okay, Rachel, we have to know who's your girl.
But I want to touch on one thing that you
Yeah.
said that your Cancer rising. So the Queen of Cups, all of the queens represent cardinal signs, and she represents Cancer
Stop. I
Stop
did not
it.
directly.
know that. I
Shut
didn't know
up.
that.
Oh my God.
I know. I was like, this is so perfect because, she represents home. In astrology, she's in the fourth house of home,
Oh my God.
and you being a doula, like it doesn't surprise me at all that you are embodying her on a day-to-day level because of what you do as a doula and therapy and all of that. Like you said it so beautifully, and I wanted to highlight that she in fact is representative in the sign of Cancer as well.
Wow. Thank you for
So
sharing.
She
I did
is
not know
you.
that. She is me. I
That's
know.
she is you.
wild.
Mm.
I just want to I want to take her out of the deck and frame her. Do
People
you
do
know what
that.
I
People like
mean?
I love
sleep with
that.
their cards. People do all kinds of stuff, Jamie. You can do whatever you want. It's your life.
I
Live
love
it.
it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay. My lady, my queen is the Queen of Wands. And I love her so much. She is a woman with passion and purpose and creative spark of spirit. In the card that I'm holding, she also has usually a cat with her, and I'm very much a cat lady. I've got my own familiar, and she represents the fiery passion of spirit, imagination, and the mastery of that. And what I do professionally on a day-to-day basis is tapping into that creative spark and passion in the design work that I do. I am a creator being at heart, and everything I do is about creating something, whether that is in pottery and or in music or in design. And so everything I do is just this outpouring of creativity, and I do my best to try to embody her in that. And so that I like her fiery spirit. I am very attracted to the mastery of self in that sense.
Wow. That is
Wow.
so you.
Yeah. I love her too. She's beautiful. And I can totally see that from your red fiery hair. Like, you are her. What is her astrological symbol?
So she's actually in the cardinal position. She's Aries.
Ooh,
So
very
she
fiery.
starts the astrological year. So yeah, she represents kind of that the burst of energy and represents the first house of the I am statements, right? Where Cancer represents home, and the Queen of Pence actually represents the 10th house of career and ambition.
Wow.
And so everything that the Queen of Wands does really embodies that sense of self at the most soul level. And so Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point. Like, I don't have a lot of Aries in my chart, but I am a fire moon, and
Mm.
so it makes sense that I tap into it that way.
And I think, you mentioned your career as a designer, which is, you're so successful at and fabulous. And looking at your other aspects of your life and like your deep connection to spirit, your deep connection to tarot
Yes.
and astrology and your vast knowledge, there's no surprise to me that the Queen of Wands is your favorite because you are so connected to, like, if we're looking at wands as spirit and passion, like that is what you need to be connected to, right?
She's definitely the witchiest
She's
one in
the
the
witchiest
deck.
one on the deck.
Yeah, that's
You're the witchiest
exactly
one in our deck, Rachel.
exactly. It sums it all up. Um, which I love. I find it interesting that all of us pull one particular queen with regularity. Remember that a pull is you don't know what you're pulling. You don't pull it intentionally. Like the deck is flipped over and you're just asking, what am I needing to hear today, or what does the universe want to show me today? And the fact that we are always pulling, not every time, but generally pulling the one that speaks to us is really outstanding. I mean, I'm astonished by what I've learned so far, but there's also one left.
Well, the one
There
left, we
is.
all have a connection to. We have talked about the Queen of Swords
Yeah.
individually, the three of us. Like she
Yep.
has a place in all of our lives. So, Rachel, please tell us about the Queen of Swords.
I've got two ladies here, and the Queen of Swords is, in my opinion, one of the most balanced queens there is. She taps into air, and air represents the wisdom, the ideas, the understanding, and she is associated with Libra in the astrological wheel, and it's something, and in the seventh house of balancing self with others, right? So she is the mastery. She's learned how to use her wisdom and her discernment in a way that allows her such control over her emotions. She controls them, they do not control her. And she is powerful in the way that she is wise, and she has that energy of self-sufficiency that all of the other queens do, but through the lens of looking through the sword of
Mm.
truth, the justice aspect. She is associated with the justice card in the major arcana as well. And so she just brings this amazing sense of wisdom balanced in a way that, all of us can be admired by.
And my birth card is Justice, and I pull the Queen of Swords like so often. I mean, Queen of Pentacles and Queen of Pentacles. Why do I keep leaving the T sound out? Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords together often.
Yeah.
What does that mean when they're together in my spread?
You embody both of those energies really, really well. Like your rising sign is an air sign, and that is something that is, you're tapped into that intellectual mindset. It is that movement and self-mastery of the mind that you also bring to the table. You're a writer, you're a teacher. She is that. But you providing for your family is the Queen of Pentacles. Like, it's the combination of both of those energies that you're embodying on an everyday level, Jamie. And
That's amazing.
you too, April, right? The Queen of Cups mixed with the Queen of Wands is it's a passionate, it reminds me of steam, right? Like, it's that steamy aspect of reality that, like, you're seeing the lens through both of those.
Yeah. I remember when she was coming up for me and I just asked you, Rachel, like, why do I keep getting her? And you saying to me, she's holding the sword of truth, hit my soul in a way that I was not ready for. And I will never forget that. And I hear your voice in my head when I
Mm.
pull her being like, this is a sword of truth. What is it? What do you need to know? We're carrying this sort of truth onward with the force of justice, and everything's gonna be okay.
That resonates. Like it's for anybody that was afraid of tarot, like we hear that people are like, "Oh, I'm afraid of tarot." I'm like, one, it's not a Ouija board.
Right.
No.
Be afraid of the Ouija board. Don't be afraid of tarot.
Tarot embraces all the goodness about you,
Mm,
right? It's such a positive and overwhelmingly satisfying way to connect to
yeah.
yourself.
Okay. So I am going to take us to a really important part of our show, which is creating a meaningful moment for the week ahead. So, something that's super important for us is to leave you with an invitation to take out into the world. And again, it's just an invitation to take if you'd like. So, we're talking about queens this week. We're talking about that feminine energy. So, our invitation for creating a meaningful moment this week is to have a moment of intentional adornment, intentional self adornment. Yeah. So,
Mm.
what does that mean? So, the way that we present ourselves to the world, or the way that we dress, or the way that we put on jewelry or anything is our self expression. So, we invite you this week to have a moment of adorning yourself in a way that feels so aligned with your soul. Maybe it's a certain piece of jewelry, maybe it's a color that you want to wear or have around you. Whatever that adornment is, having an intentional adornment for the week that really aligns with your spirit, with your emotion, with your thoughts, with your work, whichever queen you're wanting to connect with.
I love that.
I do too. In fact, I didn't even know yesterday or today, and I thought, I'm going to wear all my
Oh, I love
beads
them.
because it's not too
It's not
much.
too much. There is no too much if you're doing it for yourself. This has been so lovely. And we also close our episodes by guiding us through a breath together. So I'm going to invite you, wherever you are, to place a hand on your body. Maybe it's your stomach or your heart. And if you can safely close your eyes, don't do this if you're driving. Obviously, keep your eyes open. But if you can safely close your eyes, just taking a moment to take a deep breath all together in and out. And may you stay connected to yourself as you step back into the week.
Thank you so much for connecting with us. If you resonated with what you heard today, please like and subscribe and share this podcast with your friends and family or anyone else who might need a bit more connection and intuition in their lives. Join the conversation and stay in the loop by following us on Instagram at Soul Cards and Connection, and let us know your thoughts, questions, or any stories you might have. We would love to hear from you. Soul Cards and Connection is brought to you by your hosts and executive producers, Jamie Parker Stickle, April Treadle, and Rachel Boozer, and is a production of Make That Paper Productions. A special thanks to our producer, audio engineer, and editor, Jason Bieber, and of course, a huge shout out to our rock star intern, Brian Guerra, for your invaluable contributions. Thanks for listening, and until next time, we wish you a beautiful week of soulful connections with the cards, yourself, and the world around you. We hope you stay connected, and thanks for being a part of our journey.